Welcome back to another episode of the React Native Radio Podcast. Episode 349, How 2025 Changed the React Native Job Market, with the one and only Taylor Desseyn.
All right, welcome back, everyone. And I also want to welcome back Robin from her sabbatical. Welcome back, Robin.
What? Hello.
Yeah, it's nice to have you again. It's not just me.
Been a minute. I didn't go anywhere. I just didn't do the podcast for a couple months.
Yeah, you were tired of me. That's fine.
It was definitely about Mazen.
100%.
No, when you do something for 5 years, sometimes you just you get a little break. It's okay.
Yeah, no, it is.
I'm really happy to be back, though. I started to miss it.
Yeah.
Happy to be here.
Nice to have you back. Well, I'm Mazen, she's Robin, and we're React Native Radio. Today we have very special guest, Taylor Desseyn, who's coming to us. Thank you for coming on to the show. I think last time you were on here was RNR 302, which landed in July of 24. So over a year now.
I know. I'm pumped to be here. Thanks for having me, y'all. Means a lot.
Yeah.
Super excited to have you back.
So Taylor, for our guests that don't know you, do you mind introducing yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. So my name is Taylor Desseyn. Also, Mazen, great job nailing my last name, man. I mean, I know we're friends, but that EY throws a lot of people for the loop.
Okay, what weird variations do you get on the regular?
I've had Destin. There's no T.
Destin.
Yeah, there's no T, and people somehow
like
throw a T.
Destin
Like Destin,
from
Florida. Like Destin,
Smarter
Florida.
Every Day?
Sure, or that. I don't. Yeah. So Destin, Desseyn.
Desseyn. I could see that.
Desseyn. Okay. Yeah. So, but fun fact, if you ever run into another Desseyn in the world, they are directly related to me. We are.
Wow.
It is a rare name. Yeah, it is a very rare name. So, but yeah.
Like, hey, you know Taylor?
Yeah. Do you know the other Desseyn? The one that's always on the internet? Yeah. Anyways, we're not here to talk about my family lineage. So again, Taylor Desseyn, been in the talent staffing world for over 14 years now, which is wild. Actually, Facebook popped up my first business card the other day. And it's just crazy to think about how my career is twisted and turned. I'm super grateful for it. But so kind of started as your traditional recruiter. I moved to Nashville to do music. I think that's kind of interesting. Moved to Nashville to do music. I played at the honky tonks until 3 a.m., did country covers, even though I hate country. I did the whole music studio row thing, and did some touring. But I was serving tables every night. I wasn't really smart. My wife can attest to that. And I was serving tables every night, not playing any music, losing money. And so I leveraged my network at the time. There was kind of a group of us that moved to Nashville together that we kind of all knew each other in our hometown. And I was hanging out with one of them one night, and I was like, does anybody know who's hiring? And this girl goes, well, I nanny for somebody who I think is hiring. And I said, great. I said, what do they do? She goes, I don't know. I'll find out for you. And so the next day she goes, well, they're looking for a recruiter. And I was like, great, sign me up. I don't know what they do, but that sounds good.
I don't know what that is.
Yeah. And so I interviewed and got the job 2 weeks later. And I guess you could say the rest is history. So started out as a recruiter for really kind of hands-on recruiter for about 7, 8 years of my career. And then kind of went into, more about 5, went into kind of leadership, lead role, manager role, division director, and then had a chance to kind of start my own division when the market was repping back in 2021. Those were fun times. And then really, and I'm sure we'll talk about it today, but really kind of started a talent marketplace and what Torque is at Vaco, the company I was at. I ran the entire thing off of a Trello board, and we were very community first. And at the time, Vaco was PE backed, didn't see a lot of need for that, which I understand. And so then moved on, kind of did a quick stint at a startup here in Nashville, and then ended up at Torque, which was recently bought by Randstad Digital, the world's largest staffing company. So it's been a heck of a journey.
That's awesome.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, okay, I know it's like this is a React Native podcast and we're going to talk about that.
Yeah, definitely.
But like we could probably have a whole show on like what you just glossed over, which was like playing music in Nashville.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, I'm actually hanging out with my lead singer and his wife tonight. They've actually made it. They put out a song that went viral on TikTok. John Mayer pushed it. Luke Combs pushed it. And so they're signed to Big Loud Records now, and he's made it for all intents and purposes. And we're hanging out with he and his wife tonight, so we're still good friends. But
before we go into the sponsor read, you want to shout out their name?
Yeah. So it's my buddy Jake Etheridge. I'm going to tell him tonight, like, hey man, get this. I gave you a shout out on a React Native podcast. He's going to be like, what in the world?
So you might get a bunch of nerds in your audience.
If you get a lot of people that say React on their profile, just a heads up. So it's Thelma and James. Thelma and James is the band. Think people have compared them to the Civil Wars, kind of that folksy duo. And we're great friends with he and his wife, and they're fantastic people. So,
oh, that's cool. Well, we'll put them in our show notes.
I love it. I'm gonna tell them.
Maybe they'll get some hits.
I love it.
Well, we're always looking for music that you can play in the background while you're coding, right? As developers.
There you go.
So,
yeah, I would say that's great.
You tied it in.
Yep, there you go.
You tied it in.
Exactly.
Professional.
Awesome. Well, before we get into our topic, let's hear from our sponsor. Infinite Red is a premier React Native consultancy located fully remote in the US. We have a team of 30 senior plus level React Native developers and support staff and have been doing this for nearly a decade. If you're looking for React Native expertise for your next project, hit us up at infinite.red/radio. Don't forget to mention that you heard about us through the React Native Radio podcast. All right, so let's get into our topic. Our topic, state of React Native hiring, one that we try to do annually with Taylor. I've been getting a bunch of DMs on LinkedIn recently. People asking, hey, how can I find jobs? Are there even jobs that aren't even posted yet that will be coming on soon for us to look out for? You said that right now you're at Torque, and Torque seems to be kind of pivoting away from the whole, traditional job board, find a job from this board, apply to it and kind of go from there, more like community driven, right? What should I do if I'm looking for a job in 2025 or even, 2026 next year coming up?
Yeah, I mean, this is a loaded question. We could probably talk for the next hour just on this one question. And I know people are tired about it. I'm tired of hearing about the job market and whatever. I'm going to say, and again, I want to put a disclaimer out there. You can put this in the show notes. I am only one person, right? I always say this all the time. Like I'm extremely blessed and privileged to, as a recruiter, be invited onto podcasts like you all's. I know it carries some weight, right? You kind of have Taylor out here speaking on behalf of like the marketer, the dev community. Again, I just want to say everything I say is just within my niche of the internet. But I think this can be true, right? I think we need to get over the fact of what happened in 2021 to 2022 or 2020 to 2023, whatever that time frame was exactly, where jobs were just like coming into your house. Yeah. I mean, literally, you could spell React Native and get a job, right? We're not there anymore, and I don't think we're ever going to be there. And so I think the problem is a lot of people are still kind of hanging on to that, and you need to stop. I mean, just flat out, we have level set back to where we were before those few years. I also want to tell the individuals listening to this is that people are still finding jobs, and you know how I know that? Everybody in my network on LinkedIn and on X are posting about jobs and getting jobs. People are still getting jobs. I will also tell you this. I truly think that tech right now has a marketing problem, specifically AI, but as a whole, it's a marketing problem. The layoffs that are happening are not necessarily because of AI. It's because of the overhiring in 2021, 2022. And I still think we're dealing with that. And I think we're going to still deal with that over the next 5 years. I think founders and engineering leaders are realizing that they don't need bloated teams. And I don't think that's because of AI. I really don't. I don't think now, that's a whole nother conversation. I don't think we've seen the effects on AI and hiring yet. I truly think all we're dealing with right now is just the overhiring still. And that there's a more emphasis on streamline, more specific teams that accomplish more with less bloat. For me, for example, we're doing way more with less. We have a very small team, and we are, I would say, outpowering a lot of DevRel teams with a lot greater team because we have fine-tuned what the responsibilities are. So that's coming back. So, my encouragement is it's not as bad as it seems. People are still getting jobs, but you have to be a part of a community. You have to be leveraging your network, and you have to do the basic building steps that if you want to know about, join the Torque Discord. Obviously, torque.dev/Discord, we're talking about all the time. But if you do the fundamental blocking and tackling of the job search and actually apply yourself, you will find a job.
Like you said, like a lot of this is like the overhiring from 2021. It sounds like there's like macroeconomic reasons for where we are.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not like AI is taking your job.
No.
In fact, we've actually seen kind of the opposite, is that we're seeing this sort of like AI backlash a little bit in our spaces.
Sure.
Where like there's this movement a little bit away from like the whole in vibe coding AI revolution that we saw over the last like 8-9 months. And we're actually backing away from that. And I'm seeing like people really value the devs that can do better than the AI. So we're actually kind of seeing the opposite.
I agree.
What's funny is I use my email spam as like an indicator. Is it like an economic indicator? It's like, am I getting spam from recruiters like trying to hire me, or am I getting spam from companies who are trying to get Infinite Red to give them money because they're like struggling?
I love it. Yeah. I think that's great. I think that's great. I say this all the time. I think recruiters as a whole, listen, we and I'm speaking on behalf of the recruiting community nationwide, most of us are terrible. But I do think we're a great economic indicator of the current state of the market.
Yeah.
So yeah, I totally agree with you on that.
Right. It is. There's a lot of really spammy recruiters, and there's a lot of like good, like trustworthy recruiters that like are very good at their job. But I know the ones where I can just be like, mark as spam.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
There's a lot of those recently.
Yeah.
Before we kind of continue the conversation, I want to kind of take a step back. Torque doesn't sponsor this podcast, but if you did, what would your soundbite sound like? Because it sounds like you all are doing something non-traditional when it comes to, hiring, right? And I've seen it because, you and I, me, you, Jason, Brianna, we've seen you all at conferences and random places. And I say random because I went to dinner once and Brianna happened to be at the table. It was hilarious.
That was great. Yeah.
Caveat. But what does your soundbite sound like?
I think my soundbite is the traditional recruiters have a bad reputation. Recruiting companies have a bad reputation because if you are not a direct fit for an opportunity, that recruiter will never follow up with you again. I think what we are doing at Torque and Ronstadt Digital is we are redefining the staffing and talent industry. Because what we are doing is we are putting an emphasis in giving the job seekers a home and resources and a place to come and chat in the Discord and the platform to get resources and one-pagers on how to find a job and how to interview properly. Like no company in the talent solutions industry is doing what we're doing. And I think that's kind of my sizzle. I think if we're talking specifically sizzle around developer community is that I don't think anybody is giving back value, specific tactical, practical knowledge on how to find a job outside of what we're doing at Torque. I
like that. Yeah. I really don't have much to say to that because I completely agree with you. Yeah, it's different. You're doing something different. You found where the gaps were, and you all are doing it differently. And I love your idea about the community first. It's community driven. Let's put together a community, and then the rest will start falling in.
Yeah, I think it's hard, right? And listen, I don't fault staffing companies for doing what they're doing because at the end of the day, the way they make money is for hiring managers. So they have to over leverage a lot of their efforts to love on hiring managers. What is nice and that Ronstadt Digital is understanding is that, hey, like Ronstadt Digital is the largest player in the staffing world. We mainly work with Fortune 100 clients, right? A lot of staffing industries, companies don't have the opportunity and the resources of that. So now they're turning their shift towards the community and the talent, which has been largely overlooked for forever within the industry, which is why it's super exciting.
So like a developer who's coming to Torque looking for a job, like it's not like a recruiter hiring for a specific role and they say, hey, are you a fit? No, you're not a fit. See ya. It's more like, here, come join this community. Like, and that's how the matchups happen, is just like being in this community kind of.
Yeah, so basically, I report, or I'm under the product organization, right? So the product is actually the Torque platform. So when you go log into Torque, our latest release that's about to come out, because I just literally had a call with our head of product before this, Ken Collins, shout out him, he's awesome. Basically, the platform is going to host jobs that you're going to be a fit for. So when you join the platform, you can apply to jobs, and you can get our content of one-pagers, educational how-to guides, all that stuff. Then there's all the events and Discord activities we do as well. So it's kind of this huge ecosystem of what we can provide. So if you're like, I'm not a Discord person, I don't like to go out of my house, that's fine. You can literally just log into the Torque profile. You can see jobs that you pay maybe a fit for within the Ronside digital universe, and then also be able to consume that content on the platform.
Makes sense. Making a lot more community and network.
We're basically creating like I mean, we really are going up against LinkedIn, right? I mean, we have 2.3 million technologists on the platform now. So like
LinkedIn, but cool.
LinkedIn, but cool with the personality. Yes. I'm the truest definition of a personality hire.
We should probably talk about React Native at some point. So I'm curious. I mean, like, how many, like, are people hiring React Native devs at the moment? Do you see that happening? And is it tied into the bigger economic climate in ways like companies are trying to save money by converting their code base to React Native, like having fewer devs? Is that a reason that you're seeing for companies hiring React Native devs? What's the landscape kind of look like?
I think it's interesting. So, admittedly, my job is to kind of like wrap my arms around the entire engineering community. I have been talking to our sales team specifically in prep for this podcast, and to get some actual tactical, tangible insights. So believe it or not, more times than not, enterprise companies are using React Native. I actually messaged them and I was like, hey, like, who on our client list? And they read them out. I mean, it's all Fortune 100 clients, right? It's everybody who you would know. In the specific, in terms of saving money, I've not been a part of those conversations, but but mobile hiring and React Native hiring is absolutely hot right now. And it's something that we are actively trying to continue to build communities for and be on the lookout for folks, because our enterprise clients are absolutely needing it right now.
Building on those roles that you're talking about, what are they looking for? So as a React Native dev, do I focus on, sharpening my tool set on JavaScript background, or do I do, native? Do I have my React Native experience? Do I practice Swift and Kotlin, or do I look at, React and JavaScript specifically today?
So again, it's because it's the market and because everything's gray. I would say both. I feel like a developer answer would be it depends, right? I think y'all say that a lot. It depends.
Hey, you've talked to a lot of developers.
Yeah, it depends.
That really is a developer answer.
Yeah. So for me, I think I've talked about this in a lot of my content as well, is that I do think niching down right now is going to be a positive for most folks. Now, you don't want to get too niche down, because then if you're in a niche skill set and there's only 3 jobs for it in the US, then you're kind of screwed, right? But for me, I would say, listen, if you bring a tremendous amount of JavaScript background, then I would say being able to niche down in that JavaScript and React Native is going to be helpful. I would say if you are that native, true native, we talked about this last year, I still remember it, but if you're, that true native mobile engineer, I think also expanding your skill set to React Native is going to help tremendously. I think mobile's here to stay. We all know that. And I think mobile teams are going to continue to grow, but I do think you have to be aware. I think the problem is, and this is why I think being a part of different communities and understanding kind of the true picture, is that I think too many engineers put their head in the sand. And they're like, well, I'm only going to be a native mobile engineer, or I'm only going to be a React Native engineer, and I'm not going to do anything else. And my question to you, for you listening to this podcast, how's that working out for you? Now, some people may be like, well, Taylor, it's working great. Props to you. But I would say, what if you added another tool to your tool belt, right? Listen, I mean, I say this all the time. My wife is the handyman at the house, right? We have reverse gender roles at the house. I do the laundry and the cleaning. My wife does all the building. I barely know what a screwdriver is, but I do know this, that it takes more than just a screwdriver to build a house.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I think too many of us, and I can probably speak to the mobile community, too many of us are still relying on a screwdriver to build one house. When in actuality, we need to make sure that we talk to our friends, see where trends are, where is it heading, and then that'll allow you to expand on your skill set depending on what direction you're in to allow you to get called for more opportunities. Because my thing is, if you're complaining about not getting called for job opportunities and you're a mobile engineer and you only know native, maybe it's time to look into React Native. Right? If you're only a React Native engineer and you don't know native mobile engineering, or you're just dead set on not sharpening your JavaScript skills, you're probably left behind. And I think that's and there's a lot of empathy that I wanted to deploy here in this conversation. That it's very difficult, right? It's very difficult to keep updated and which is why I think listening to a podcast like this or being a part of a community like y'all's, I think is so incredible, because even if they don't get a job through you all, they at least start being educated on the economic kind of state right now when it comes to mobile engineering.
I think you're totally right. And Infinite Red just finished a big hiring round this year, and Mazen and I were both like part of the team reviewing applications, and like one of the things we were constantly looking for is like, do you have React and native? Like, are you aware and like capable of being comfortable in the native world and the React world? Like we're getting to the point where there's so many of the companies using React Native now are these huge high profile companies that have really high standards for their apps. And you have to be able to do both. You have to be able to be comfortable going native where it makes sense, and also being like a really world-class like JavaScript developer also. And so that's just what we're seeing is you have to be able to do both. And that's what companies are looking for. And like, even like current devs, like if you already have a job and you're a native engineer, your company next year could be like, we want to move to React Native.
Yeah. And it happens. It's happening right now.
We see it all the time because we come in and we build React Native apps for companies that are switching, and their devs are like, JavaScript is dumb. We don't want to do it. And then they get left behind.
Yeah, I talked about this with AI too. I know it's not an AI podcast, but that's why I gave my keynote for All Things Open in Raleigh. It was just like, listen, you can't sit here and keep saying, I'm just going to do the thing that's got me here for 10 years. Like you have to shift. I mean, even I read a stat about how the React Native like development market as a whole is projected to get to 499 million when it comes to like salaries and project and all that. I mean, it's at 350 now approximately. So it's like it's going to be tremendous growth by 2031. Like you can't just sit here and think that mobile engineering is not going to change.
Yeah. And, you even mentioned enterprise companies are using React Native and all that kind of stuff. Like we mentioned on the podcast, right? Expo did a big push to make sure that Expo is usable when it comes to enterprise firms. Because in the past, enterprise was like,
right.
React Native is not for me. We can't do it. They don't, not compatible with enterprise. That's no longer an excuse. We said Fortune 100. There's lists out there that kind of lists, companies like Shopify, Amazon, all the big names that are using React Native. And the fact that they are changing not necessarily changing with the times, but changing to React Native and, kind of reading the room, be like, all right, this is the next thing that's going to help us get to that next step. Large companies like that are able to switch on a dime. As a developer, you should be able to kind of be that flexible too.
Yeah, and listen, I did some conversations and some research before the podcast. At the end of the day, it's still a cost. It's still a cost savings, right? Let's not get it twisted. I'm not even technical. I've never written a single line of JavaScript code, but I ultimately know that if you're using a React Native platform, if you're using React Native and you have React, it makes sense. Like it just makes sense. And I think companies, again, cost, it's very much of a thing right now, right? It's something that I'm dealing with my team. Like there is definitely a cost conscious model. So to also think, so then you have those, again, I talked about this in my keynote. I grew up sailing, right? Not a lot of people grew up sailing, but and I used to race competitively, but when you race competitively, you got to look to where the wind is going, not where it's at. And so
you keep opening up new branches that I want to go explore. I'm like, okay, we got live music in Nashville, and now we have sailing. Yep. I have so many questions.
Yeah, I haven't even brought in my ice hockey crew. I don't know how to tie in ice hockey with React Native, but maybe we'll get there. But for
That's too bad Jamin's
guess,
not here.
Yeah, Jamin and I tweet all the time. But like, or say that, okay, let's bring in ice hockey, right? Like, again, you want to know, as a defenseman, I'm always anticipating where the puck could go, right? But if the team is coming at me and it's a 2-on-1, right, and you have a winger on the far side where he doesn't have a shot, he's probably going to pass to the middle. So I'm going to cover the middle. Same thing what we're dealing with right now. There's obviously a focus on more efficient teams, developer teams, and a more focus on budget perspective. To me, that means where's the puck heading? Probably heading towards more React Native.
Definitely. I'm curious. Have you ever seen devs like fully switch their programming stack in order to get a job? Like, say they're like a Java developer or like PHP something. Completely be like, I really want to do like Rust.
I think
and then,
more
like,
that needs to
completely
happen.
switch.
Yeah.
Like, is that a thing that you see?
Absolutely. The problem with that is most people think doing a bunch of Udemy courses and LinkedIn courses is going to help them try to get a job, right? I mean, at the end of the day, if you are switching from one code stack to another, I mean, I've been really hot on it lately. I think boot camps and I think boot camps, amongst other things, kind of ruined front-end development in the sense of there's just so many front-end engineers out there that I've been saying for the last few years that if you have an interest and a desire to get into back-end engineering, you need to pivot, right? Because that's where everything's heading. And of course, lo and behold, 5 years, 6 years later, where are we at now? It's heavy back-end, right? So for me, yes, I think if you're listening to this podcast and you're in the cold fusion world, right? And you're like, I got a passion for building mobile apps, I think it's time to switch. But the thing is you can't just sit there and read a bunch of documentation and vibe code your way into an app. You need to know how to build an app from front to back with solid fundamentals using React Native. And to be honest with you, in today's world, everybody uses mobile apps. It is unacceptable for me if you want to switch skill sets and you have not deployed an app that people it is unacceptable to try to jump to a mobile role specifically and not have a fully fledged mobile app being used by users.
Yeah, you have to have the hands-on experience or people they'll move on.
Like I have multiple app ideas that if somebody wants to hit me up, I have multiple apps, right? I mean, the biggest one is I need a better time hop competitor that pulls up my memories from the last year, 2 years, 3 years, because the current one always breaks. Someone go create that in React Native and then let me buy it, right? Like,
there
again, it's not
You heard
hard.
it here first.
Yeah.
You just got a free product idea.
Yeah, like literally, like there is no competitor to time hop outside of Google Photos. I did a little research, right? And so like literally just like go build it. I would pay $10 a month to literally get my memories from my kids year over year.
Wow.
It's not hard, but the problem is most people are just like, I'm gonna go chat GPT some things and I'm gonna get hired by Infinite Red. It's like, no,
definitely not. I feel like I don't know if it's just the spaces I'm in, but there's very much an anti vibe coding sentiment going on.
I think the joke is like, it's like who uses Lovable, but Lovable's like, secured like $100 million valuation or $1 billion valuation or something. It's like nobody, but yet no one uses it. Like, I don't know. That's a whole nother conversation.
It's a whole bubble that I have no idea what's going to happen. Just the amount of changes that have happened in the last year.
It's tremendous.
I can't even imagine what it's going to look like in another year. Like things are pretty crazy, but
it's going to be tricky. So we do consulting. This might be a loaded question, but that's fine. Consulting positions or product positions, what's harder to hire for and why?
Or maybe not even which is harder, but how are they
Taylor?
How are they different?
Yeah, I mean, so this is why tech hiring is so hard because it's so nuanced, right? Like, I will tell you that off the rip, I could say consulting companies are easier to hire for because if you get somebody who's like a polyglot engineer, who's got a great personality, who has known experience, like they can get snatched up really quickly, but then the same could be said for like product-based stuff. You have a bunch of experience in SaaS, so it just depends. I will tell you this. I think as a whole, it is, if you want to get hired, I'm gonna take it from the stance of how to find a job for both. I think if you are trying to get into a Infinite Red, I would get into their public Slack or Discord. Do you guys have like a public Slack or
Public
Discord?
Slack, yeah.
Public
Yeah.
Slack, great. So get into the public Slack, start adding value to the conversation. Start, you know, I don't know, I've you know, taken on projects or doing projects and then getting, you know, critique in the Slack channel where people can view what you're doing. I think when it comes to product-based stuff, you know, I went live with Sunil at Cloudflare recently. You know, he was like, listen, if somebody messaged me about how like the area I own at Cloudflare and how it sucks and how what they would improve on it, he goes, I would interview that person 10 out of 10 times, right? I went live with Mark Thompson from Google, DevRel, and we were talking about how to leverage AI to eventually stand up more like proof of concept work to use somebody's product in an interview. Right. So it's like, hey, I like your product. I'm going to, you know, we did talk about vibe code, like standing it up. Obviously, you have to have the fundamentals, but like using it as a way to extend yourself to get stuff set up and then sit in the interview and be like, hey, like let's torque, right? Hey, love the platform. I've had multiple developers go, hey, I like your platform, but here's a bunch of critiques. And literally I send it over to the engineering team every time. So I think the whole conversation of to your question, is it easier to hire? I think if you apply yourself as a job seeker and get yourself embedded into the community or the product and use that to leverage that in your job search and your interview, you're going to have a much higher success at getting interviews and or potentially landing a job.
Yeah,
Absolutely. We saw like I said, we did a hiring round this year, and the most success we had was when we put out an announcement in our community Slack.
Dudette, I'm telling you, like I have so many hiring managers tell me that they don't even post roles anymore. They just go straight to their community.
Yeah, exactly what we do. Yeah, we don't post anything because like you basically get like a free like trial it's almost like they've already kind of shown you like who they are and like how they communicate, and like you've already got all this information to start with, and you have this like baseline level of kind of trust, like especially if they're active. Like don't just like join the Slack and like post one time and expect it to like do anything.
No.
But, like there's people in our community Slack who are always like, they're helpful, they're answering questions, they're asking questions, and like those are the ones that we would, if they applied, would be like, okay, yeah, we already have this level of trust. So yeah.
To me it's wild. It just makes so much sense. It's like dating. Okay. Like to me, if you're in the Slack or in a Discord, and like prime example, we had an ambassador. We were going to hire him potentially for, obviously we're still trying to figure out how to build community out of like a $1 billion brand, which has been interesting in and of itself. But literally I put out a call for our ambassadors like, hey, we're looking to potentially hire a community manager for the healthcare space. Who has, if this is you, let us know. Literally one of our ambassadors hit us up. He goes, I've been in the healthcare space for the last 4 years. I know the Epic, it was specifically around the Epic community. He goes, I've taken the certs. He goes, I would love to do this. We never posted the role. Like, and to me, it just, like I said, it's like dating. Like if you can get in people's Discords or Slacks and have conversations, it's like, I tell all the time, like doing that is like dating. It's like the first date. Like people can see that you're not weird.
Right.
And so you're immediately jump to the second or third date.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly. I mean, it's like online dating is really difficult because it's almost like blind dates every time. Like you have nothing really to go on, versus like dating someone that you like know from school or like that you've like seen in the world before. It's a completely different experience.
100%.
Totally get what you're saying. Go ahead, Hans.
It wouldn't be RNR if it was music, React Native, hiring,
hockey,
dating,
got in there,
some hockey, dating, and then now back to React Native.
Sailing.
Exactly.
There was some sailing.
There was sailing. Yeah. Thanks for getting all our bingo for today, Taylor.
So speaking of bingo, the Torque community has developed a bingo alternative called Tego. And supposedly, I say the same things over and over when I talk.
Oh
and so when I go live, a lot of the community members play Tego every time I go live. And then, and then in the chat, they yell Tego in the chat whenever they get bingo. So, yeah.
That's amazing.
Right, I'm going to pay more attention to that. I'm usually not paying attention to the chat.
Can we do that for React Native mornings?
We could, yeah. Why not?
Yeah, Michael.
Mago.
Shout out Michael Raymond, another active community member and Torque ambassador. He created it. So
That's awesome.
I love that idea. All right, I'm doing that.
Yeah.
Next time Mazen goes live.
I'm interested to see what my bingo card or Mago card looks
Oh,
like.
I'm gonna have fun.
Right. Yeah.
I'm gonna have
And
fun.
I want to just mention real quick before we're going to jump back into it is if you're not in the community Slack for InfiniteRed, it's community.infinite.red. Please join. There's a lot of helpful, if it's not, we don't necessarily always post for hiring. We're not hiring at the moment, but there's a lot of helpful information out there and a lot of helpful people in that community right now to help out.
Yep. We're getting low on time, but I do want to touch on one last topic, which is the React Native world and how it's very international. Like you have your call stack in your software mansion over in Poland. There's like a whole contingency of React Native devs in like London, and we're kind of all over the world. Is that like, does that come into play? Are there like US developers that feel like they're competing with overseas developers and vice versa? Like what's the dynamic there?
Yeah, absolutely. And again, this was sound like a broken record. This was in the keynote that I gave too. This was one of the parts.
So I think you should all go watch Taylor's keynote.
It's actually, I think it's live on the All Things Open YouTube, but I'm going to put it up. But yeah, I mean, literally I talked about just kind of the state of tech. And I think so Torque's original business model was nearshore talent platform. It was a nearshore talent platform. LATAM specifically. And so we do, like, if there's one thing we do really, really well in LATAM is mobile hiring, actually, believe it or not. So I just messaged for one client. It's extremely hot startup in the market right now. We've placed 15 mobile engineers with them. So, again, it's something we do very well. That being said, I think the secret's out. I think a lot of companies realize they can hire really good people in LATAM or over in Poland. I know my dear friend Kelly Vaughn at our previous company managed a team of engineers in Poland, right? Was out there all the time. So, and I know Ukraine was really big when I was at Vaco for one of our larger enterprise clients. And so I think that is something that is unfortunately eating away. One of the many things that is eating away at the market, not AI, but specifically hiring in nearshore and offshore, which again, I think to me, I think when it comes back to positioning yourself, like you really need to niche down and be the person for it, right? And be known as the person for it, but then be involved in community, right? I mean, I think a lot of people are going to be more willing to hire a U.S. individual who they know that is in the community and is active and is contributing than potentially putting a job posting up for LATAM or Poland or whatever. That being said, I still think there's a lot of great engineers, but I do think it is one of the components that is kind of eating away at the job market right now, specifically for U.S. hiring.
Yeah, it's tough, and I think just to reiterate what we've talked about throughout this is that you can't rest on your laurels anymore. It's like you said, you can't get a job just because you know how to spell React Native. Like,
because that was absolutely a thing a few years back.
That's right.
That's on the interview. Right? It's like,
you could
how do
just
you spell
write it on
React
your
Native?
resume, and people are like, "Oh, you're hired."
Yeah.
No, you have to really walk the walk, and you have to show that you're continuously learning and that you're comfortable on all sides of the stack, React and Native.
Yeah, and again, I think one of the other things I talked about was the great hesitation, right? So there was the great resignation. Now we're in the great hesitation. There are companies wanting to hire, but it's usually lining up budgets, run rate, whatever. And so it's taking a little bit more time. This is why you go 3, 4, 5 rounds and then not hear anything back, because there's kind of a disconnect between finance and engineering or finance and whatever else. And so that's where you have to, again, dive into community and networking, because what's going to happen is that when that company opens up that role, they probably have needed that role now realistically for 3 to 4 months. So the more ingrained you can get in the community, when that role comes open, they're not going to want to wait. So then you can immediately get to the top of their stack of resumes.
I think a lot of people, myself included, either used to be or still are afraid of the word networking. And I want to like maybe reframe it for people who are like terrified of that because maybe they're like not super social or whatever. Like networking doesn't have to be like meetups and trading business cards and like
No.
making like small talk with people. Like forming a network can look like just like building stuff in public, like doing open source, like being in these communities, like not even going in there with the intention of like, I'm going to go network. It's like, no, I'm just going to go participate and like be around people and like do my work in ways that are visible and like the way people can see what I'm doing.
Yeah.
It may help like make it not so intimidating.
Yeah, and I think people overcomplicate. Like I think humor goes a really long way. like if you're funny, like lean into it, right? Like, and I'll say like networking. I've talked about it a lot, but networking looks like liking a tweet or reposting somebody with your thoughts or responding back to Infinite Red's newsletter. I mean, I've been really big on starting to follow key industry players and applying to their newsletters and then responding back to them. Right?
You know, I did like. Maybe the people don't know that's a thing you can do. I don't think I've ever responded to a newsletter in my life. Like, that's smart.
Yeah. I mean, literally, like, I mean, I'd be curious, like, how many replies do you guys get when you send out a newsletter? Like, actually,
I don't know, Justin.
Yeah, we'll need to ask Justin that question.
Yeah. Yeah, no replies. Exactly. He said no replies. And you know what? No replies with Torque either.
Not even from
Robin. I love it. So again, like I've actually gotten a few people that I'm shooting above my like levels from interviewing guest perspective, and I've gotten them on my podcast because I respond back to their newsletter thoughtfully.
Which probably
sometimes
because
I make
it's
a
so
joke.
rare for people to do.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Like if you want to
go
work,
it doesn't take a lot to set yourself apart.
Yeah, I mean it's not hard. It's not hard, and honestly, comedy goes a long way. Like it's people just don't overcomplicate. Just be human.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll build on that to kind of help us wrap up here. If you're the individual that's looking for a job does not always have to entail browsing the internet for hours on hours to find that
get off
job
of
description. Get off of that. Build an app. I will say this, build an app and build it in public. There's nothing wrong with building it in public. That is going to that's going to make you stand out from the crowd. And it might not be, a company's going to find you. Someone's going to find you. Someone's going to share your tweet, retweet you. Your reach is going to be huge. I don't think every time people ask me like, hey, where do I go for resources, anything, hiring, React Native, you name it. My first answer is usually X. Start there. You're going to find the communities, you're going to find the people, and your reach is going to be far and wide. Build something. Even if it's a to-do app, just build it. Get it out there.
Even if you are on the Indeeds and stuff, if you've built that, you have that to be like, hey, look, here's what I made.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, you can use it.
I will say a developer here at Infinite Red, she wanted the job. She built an app and basically stormed through the door and said, here's what I can do. Hire me. And
because we weren't hiring.
Because we weren't hiring, right? Hiring was closed at that point. And guess what? She was hired and she's still here and she's, thriving on our team. Build something, show it off in public. Don't be afraid of it. We've all built it at the same point, and everyone builds things differently. So do it in public is my recommendation.
Do it now.
Do it now.
Do it.
Taylor.
Do it.
I really want to thank you for coming on the show. This is always fun chatting with you. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
I'd like to wrap up. Where can people find you online?
I'm very online.
Yes.
You're the most online.
If you cannot find me online, you have a problem with your internet connection.
Your ISP is getting in the way of finding Taylor.
Yeah. You live in the Stone Age. So basically, T Desseyn, TDESSEYN on every single social media platform. Literally everyone but Snapchat, because I am a adult. And that would just be weird.
I was just checking Snapchat.
I also miss the Snapchat.
Yeah.
Era. It just never was part of my life.
It's okay, Rob. You didn't miss anything. So, and then obviously would love to have you part of the Torque community. Torque.dev/Discord is kind of like what I send people to just to like try us out, see if you like the people. And then ultimately, if you want to go to Torque.dev, our marketing site, and sign up to the platform. We got a lot of amazing new releases about to drop that, again, I think we're going to fundamentally change the way the staffing organization works.
That's awesome. Thank you so much,
Love it.
Taylor, again. And thank you all for listening to this episode. Robin, do you have a famous mom joke trademark here?
The return of the mom joke. I actually have so many because it's been so long that I have like a whole inventory of them that have built up. So
how about you
here's
read
my
us
favorite.
the fourth one?
The fourth one, I'm not.
Go
I'm
ahead.
not.
Your favorite
I'm not
one.
that good at counting.
I'm kidding.
I'm not that good at counting, but I did really enjoy this one, so I'm going to share it. Last week, okay, sorry, this is from Tyler Williams, who's one of our devs at Infinite Red.
He's been on the show.
He's been on the show, and he's one of our editors. Last week, I went to the beekeeper to get a dozen bees. The beekeeper gave me 13, and I said, "Hey, you gave me one extra." And the beekeeper said, "Yeah, that's a freebie."
That's a good one.
Hey, Mazen, I actually have a good dad joke.
Do it.
What did the fish say when it hit the wall? Damn.
I love that
Yes,
one.
that's a
That's
good
my
one.
husband's favorite joke.
That's
It's
awesome.
so good.
We should have the guests do
We
a
should.
joke also after. Yeah.
You know, you're the first one who's volunteered that. Most of them are like, what is this weird group of people doing?
My grandfather had a tapeworm joke that was 6 minutes long, but I figured that wouldn't
We'll put that
be
in the
appropriate
credits
for the
How about
pod.
that?
Yeah.
All right, everyone. Thank you so much. We'll talk to you all next time. Bye.
Yep. Bye.
As always, thanks to our editor, Todd Worth, our assistant editors, Jed Bartosky and Tyler Williams, our marketing and episode release coordinator, Justin Husky, and our guest coordinator, Mazen Chami. Our producers and hosts are Jamin Holmgren, Robin Hines, and Mazen Chami. Thanks to our sponsor, Infinite Red. Check us out at infinite.red/radio. A special thanks to all of you listening today. Make sure to subscribe to React Native Radio on all the major podcasting platforms.